For over 2 centuries, the Tokugawa shogunate had crafted an era of unprecedented peace and stability in Japan, a period we now call the Edo period. But no system, no matter how perfectly designed, can last forever without change. By the early 19th century, beneath the calm surface, deep cracks were beginning to appear, not from foreign threats, but from within Japan itself. This is the story of how the seeds of revolution were sown long before the first black ships arrived. The very success of the Tokugawa peace created its own problems. A vibrant economy began to flourish, and with it, a new power emerged, the merchant class. Officially, they were at the bottom of the social hierarchy, below samurai, farmers, and artisans. But in reality, their wealth was growing immensely. They were financing lords, funding artistic movements, and creating a dynamic urban culture. Many samurai, on the other hand, were falling into debt, their traditional stipends worth less and less in this new money-based economy. This inversion of wealth and status created a huge social tension. Imagine being a proud warrior, a member of the ruling class, but having to bow to a merchant to get a loan. The system was breaking down. Meanwhile, in the countryside, the peasants, the very backbone of the feudal economy, were growing restless. Famines, heavy taxes, and the increasing wealth gap led to widespread discontent. Uprisings and riots, though often brutally suppressed, became more frequent and larger in scale. These weren't just protests about a bad harvest. They were fundamental challenges to the shogunate's ability to provide for its people. The mandate of heaven, so to speak, was being questioned. Adding fuel to the fire was a revolution of the mind. A new wave of intellectual thought was spreading. Scholars began to re-examine ancient Japanese texts, promoting a school of thought called kokugaku, or national learning. This movement emphasized the divine origins of the emperor and questioned the legitimacy of the shogun's rule. Why was a military leader in charge when Japan had a divine emperor? At the same time, a small but influential group of scholars, through the Dutch trading post in Nagasaki, were secretly studying Western science, medicine, and political ideas. This Dutch learning, or rangaku, opened their eyes to a world far beyond Japan's shores, making them acutely aware of their own country's isolation and potential vulnerabilities. The rising merchants, the restless peasants, and the questioning intellectuals, these were the internal forces slowly chipping away at the foundations of the Tokugawa shogunate. The stage was being set for a dramatic transformation. The shogunate was a mighty tree that had stood for centuries, but unseen, it was being hollowed out from the inside, ready to topple at the first strong push, and that push was just over the horizon. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying this journey through Japanese history, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next chapter. See you next time.